Hello and welcome to a deep dive of the Iceberg of Queen's album, The Game. Why am I doing this? Because I need more people to talk to about it, other than my poor, long-suffering father. Because all of my friends listen to almost exclusively indie music. Because I also listen to almost exclusively indie music, which is why I found this album to be incredible. But not quite for the reasons you think. This is the album where Another One Bites the Dust comes from, and also a crazy little thing called Love. I'm going to, in editing, put up the track list on the screen about now. You might notice something interesting, and it's probably the same thing that piqued my eye as well. It's Dragon Attack. There is a Queen song called Dragon Attack that I had never heard of. That sounds like the kind of thing you would have heard of. So we're going to go through this album song by song to figure out what on hell, earth, I don't even know. We're gonna figure out what this album is about. I've already figured it out, but we're going to walk through the stages of grief I went through to find out. So the way this is going to go is, first up, I am going to listen to each song in the album. You don't have to stay here with me while I do that, though I will be playing you little clips of each song before I talk about it. First up, we'll listen to the first track on the album, which is called Play the Game. Freddie Mercury wants you to play the game. A disappointment. Quite possibly the lamest Dragon Attack possible from Queen. Like, is it a little funky? Yes. There is a sick guitar solo about 2 minutes in. I recommend the guitar solo, and, well, it's not a solo per se. You've got Freddie, like, you know, screaming in the background occasionally, and the bass going off and doing its thing. But the guitars are pretty great. But you've got a dragon on your back. It is attacking. I mean, there's probably some other meanings in there or whatever, but personally, the way that I am interpreting it, which is the only correct way, is there is a dragon attacking, and they're weirdly chill about it. So now we finally find out why the other ones are biting the dust. It was a dragon all along. Also, in the context of the album, the dragon is continuing its attack, but funkier this time. No. Yes, you read that right. This is, in fact, the song that comes immediately after Another One Bites the Dust. Within the context of the album, the only real conclusion that can be drawn is that it's about whoever was making things bite the dust. Why else would you need forgiveness? Why else would Freddie have to specify that he isn't mad? It's okay. We can continue to write letters to each other. And also, I want you carnally. Freddie Mercury wants to fuck that dragon. Yeah, so this is the album that song comes from. Bet you didn't think it was about a love story between Freddie Mercury and a dragon. And we know it's a fire-breathing dragon, too, because it says he's breaking out into sweat, and, how else would he break out into sweat around a lizard except by their fire breath? Or I suppose embarrassment, but, he's finally met up with his dragon pen pal sweetheart, but he isn't ready to face probably what he was set out to do initially in his letters. He repeats that he isn't ready, he needs time, he needs to go take a ride on his motorbike before he can handle it, and in all honesty, understandable. This is a dragon. We've also learned that the dragon is in fact a she. So we've got a lady dragon on our hands, who can breathe fire, and who Freddie Mercury just isn't ready for yet. Let's see where this goes. We finally hear from the dragon. We finally hear from her. And, so, the dragon and Freddie Mercury go out dancing. And Freddie's got on a suit. That's about it. Don't do that. Okay. Composure. So, Queen does about as, subtle a job as you'd think with a title like that. So, if you do listen to this song, I will provide a content warning, because, they have discussion of self-harm, technically, well, I mean, they explicitly say certain things, like, explicit types of self-harm to not do. And, let me just read you, it doesn't have any, let me read you the pre-chorus, which they sing several times. Don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. You got a good thing going. Don't do it. No. Don't do it. No. Don't. So, the way that I'll interpret this in the context of the album, is the dragon, due to being reformed by love, is now giving a motivational speech at a school. Forgive me for what I told you. Someone's sister is sailing away across the sea. It's unclear whose sister is sailing away across the sea, but someone's sister definitely is, and people are a little bit sad. Holy shit, these sons of bitches are doing it again. And they're having a great time doing it. So what are they doing again is the real question, and what I believe they're doing again is the dragon's just gonna attack again. Because the 11th track on this album, not to spoil anything major, is called Dragon Attack, 1991 remix. So we got that going for us. And as our story draws to a close, it turns out that Freddie Mercury and the dragon were not meant to be. Freddie Mercury is now naked and far from home. Hence why the song is titled Save Me, and the chorus is Save me, save me. Well, at least that's the first line of it. So, now Freddie Mercury needs to be rescued from the dragon who he loved so dearly for, and as the song, I believe, is implying, years. So that is rough. They replaced the guitars with some guy talking. The guitar solos were replaced by a rap verse, and the last, like, 30 seconds are just some guy repeating Dragon Attack over and over again. I don't know how I feel about that. It has more bass, I guess. Or at least the bass is louder, so it kind of sounds bigger and more like a dragon attack, maybe? I think whether you like the remix better or the original better really comes down to personal preference, and that says a lot about the original song. And thus, the album draws to a close. Now the question finally is here. What is the game? Well, considering that Freddie Mercury is undeniably a bard, and that Dungeons & Dragons First Edition, released in 1974, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, released in 1977, at least according to Wikipedia, and there was a reprint of Dungeons & Dragons in the year of our Lord, 1981, which in fact is the same year that this album, The Game, came out. I know what I'm thinking. And what I'm thinking is this, not that Freddie Mercury would play Dungeons & Dragons, fella didn't even like Star Wars, okay? Like, there's no way that he played Dungeons & Dragons, no. What I think likely happened, and here's my theory, is that someone in Queen heard what Dungeons & Dragons was at some point. And they were like, huh, we can do that, we can do that, like that works, we can do it. We've got this, yeah. And thus the game was born, in which Freddie Mercury, in true bardic fashion, fucks that dragon, falls in love with that dragon, and has a tragic breakup with that dragon. And you know what? I'll say that's valid.